it smells fantastic.
A big thanks to Bernhard for sponsoring this episode.
I'm gonna give you my favorite beef jerky recipe. I made a lot of beef jerky recipes over the years, and every year I come up with a new beef jerky recipe just for you. And this is what I've been doing lately. If you're subscribed to this channel, you know that last week I gave you my teriyaki sauce. And that's what I'm gonna use for this beef jerky. Let's get started. First thing on the list, chop fine some garlic. I'm gonna take a couple of cloves and chop them fine. I wanna go as fine as possible. Then I'm gonna peel and chop the same amount of ginger. And it's very important that these two items are balanced. I'm gonna warm up my Scotchburg skillet, put a little bit of oil in, and fry the garlic and ginger. Then I'm gonna add 125 milliliters of raw cane sugar, 250 milliliters of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Bring that to a boil. Put 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and 3 tablespoons of water in a bowl. Mix them up, and once it's fully mixed, add it to the teriyaki sauce. Let that simmer for about 5 minutes and the teriyaki sauce is done. Now normally I would use this sauce for chicken or for salmon or like a lot of really tasty things. And if you're looking for the recipe, it's on PitmasterX.com. But now I'm gonna change things up. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna show you that this is more than a sauce. This is also a marinade. And I'm going to let this pan cool down enough for it to marinate our beef. For my beef, I selected a beautiful piece. This is the eye of round. This is a really lean piece of beef and it's well known for its toughness. Lean and tough would normally be a very bad combination. But if you're making beef jerky, you want something that's lean, and this is therefore the perfect piece. First thing to do is to trim it up until all of that silver skin and fat is gone. Now that this is trimmed up and cleaned up, you can see that this is one of the leanest cuts you can find. And that's for a good reason. If you want to preserve meat, then one of the first things that's going to go bad is the fat. It's going to become rancid, and that's what you want to prevent. So the less fat you have in your beef jerky, the better your beef jerky is going to be. Now you might have noticed that my knives, when I start working with them, look like this. There's like this little bit of grease sitting on my knives. That's because I like to preserve my knives. These are forged knives and they are hand forged. And I like to keep them beautiful like this, even though I store them right there on the wall outside, which normally would mean with hand forged knife that it would start rusting. But a little bit of oil works magic. I just used this knife to chop the garlic and the ginger. Make sure that it's dry. I'm gonna take a piece of paper towel, a drip of oil, and I'm gonna coat the knife. Just a thin layer will do the trick. I'm also gonna do the wooden heft of the knife. And now I can hang this back up on the wall. All I need to do is clean it up with a paper towel, that in case that the oil turned rancid, it is now gone and it's ready to cut some meat again. So this piece of meat is nice and cool. That's gonna make the cutting easy. I also have a sharp knife that's gonna make sure that I will be able to cut it nice and thin. Now if you're not able to cut it thin, there's another trick to make your beef jerky nice and thin. And that's by taking out a pan and giving it a good old whack. I'm gonna pour that teriyaki sauce on my mountain of beef. Because this way I'm gonna be able to make sure that I get marinade on every single piece of beef. I gotta make sure I get in there, do the work, get every little piece of beef coated with that teriyaki sauce. It's gotta be on every little bit. If you're working with a bowl or with a bag, it's not gonna have the same effect. So I gotta go out on the board, make sure that I get every piece coated like that. And that's the secret trick to get the perfect beef jerky. This is ready to go into the fridge. I'm gonna marinate it for 4 hours. But I just wanna point out, all the work that goes into it is well worth it. It has to be homemade because you're showing it to someone else and basically you're saying, hey, look at this. This is what I make. Now beat me. And then they're gonna say, wow, this guy, he has the best beef jerky. I just took the beef out of the refrigerator and now it needs to be smoked. And I'm gonna take one of these trays, one more, and I'm gonna load them up. I wish you could smell this. It smells fantastic. I'm gonna spread that out over the baking tray. Make sure one is not overlapping the other like this. If that happens, you're gonna have a wet spot right where that meets it. So you gotta make sure you spread it out and the beef doesn't touch other pieces of beef. Now we have a giant stack of meat ready to be smoked, because that's exactly what it needs. It needs nitrate from the smoke so that it holds for a long period of time. These are going to go into the Bernhard smoker. That's my pellet smoker. I'm going to use this because it has a giant surface in which we can put a lot of beef jerky. I've got it set up with 2 grill grates. I think I can get about 3 of these racks in here. And that is one fully loaded barbecue. I'm gonna close the lid. I'm gonna check to see if I still have enough pellets. And since the beef jerky is gonna smoke at the lowest temperature possible, I don't need much more than's already in there. All I need to do now is switch it on and set it to smoke, which is the lowest setting to smoke at. But I got a lot more meat to turn into beef jerky, and that's an opportunity to add more flavor. This batch is natural, and that batch is going to be special. One is going to be seasoned with fresh ground pepper, one with PitmasterX's classic barbecue rub, another one with Don Marco's bacon punch. Of course, I also need to have one with chili flakes. That's going to be extra spicy. And now with all these special additions, I'm ready. Let's smoke it. It's going to take probably another 4 hours smoking at the lowest setting. We need warm air to flow through that barbecue, and that's why the pellet smoker is absolutely perfect. If you don't have a pellet smoker, then just use your oven at the lowest setting. Let it slowly come up to temperature. It has to be convection oven. Let the air push through. Let it dry. The beef jerky is ready. And how do I know? Let me show you. That's how you know it's done. Look at that beautiful red mahogany color on the beef jerky. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And this thing is tough, it's nice and jerky, but you can still tear it with your hand. There we go. You can see those little white lines shred. This has been smoking for about 3 hours at 80 degrees Celsius. Make sure that your beef jerky is a little drier than you would like it to be, because if you put it in a package and you save it for a long period of time or even overnight, it's going to become more juicy. So a dry result is better than a more wet result.
Oh man.
Which one are you're gonna try?
I want to try the classic rub.
Oh, I like pepper.
The pepper gives you a punch, right?
Yeah, really good. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then,
Eet smakelijk.
and keep on making beef jerky, guys.